Hi everyone, my name is Nislick.
Hi, I'm Nicole Mezher.
And today we'll be presenting this resume writing guide. We'll be helping you and giving you tips to help promote yourself for your dream job.
So first we are going to start with the overview. We're going to talk about why you need a resume, what to include in your resume, what to leave off your resume, and picking the best format for you. We're going to talk about tailoring your resume for a specific job description, and we'll have 3 examples of that. Then we are going to talk about some other sites to find internships or other jobs at. We are going to go over some questions, and then you can send us your questions if you have any.
So as high schoolers, why do you even need a resume? What is the importance of it right now? So in today's job market, a resume is the #1 requirement potential employers request. However, a good resume does not guarantee that you'll get the job you apply to. The purpose of a resume is to get you the interview. It allows you to market your unique skills and qualifications while communicating the benefits it'll bring to a specific job in a quick and concise manner. And when I talk about skills, that correlates to your potential to fill a specific position, and benefits correlate to your accomplishments and what you can bring to a specific company. Other reasons for writing a resume this early in your career or as students is writing your resume, and the process of it can actually prepare you for the interview. Being able to recall the experiences that you've had can help you determine whether they're actually applicable for a specific job that you want to apply to. Additionally, it organizes you and forces you to assess your skills.
So now we'll go into what to include in your resume. You're always going to want to have your contact information on it, things like your name, phone number, and location. And then you'll want to have your education as well. So the highest level of education that you have, if you're in college, you'll want to include what degree you're looking to get and where your school is located. And then finally, you also want to include some skills, awards, and honors you have. So you'll want to include the hard skills, which is coding languages, any management experience, pretty much all of your technical knowledge or training.
So what's most important to include in your resume, and this is kind of the meat of it, is your work experience. And you'll want to include the company name, the job location, your specific title at that job, and your start and end dates, similar to your education and other experiences. And so here are some examples for both Nicole and I, although Nicole's at a different site. I'm located here in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. This would be a standard work experience section of your resume. As a senior systems engineer, that's your title. I guess I become a senior systems engineer way down 2028 and then to present day. And just a couple bullets to emphasize what your responsibilities are or were in that role, depending on if it's a present role or a past role. And you also want to include your measurable results and skills and experiences that you gained in that role. And normally, you don't want to include more than 2 to 3 bullets per experience. That should be sufficient.
So what do you want to leave off your resume? You'll want to leave off any specific references you have. You don't have to list them out unless it's stated in the job description, because it's already assumed that you have them, and they'll likely ask you for those specifically later. And you also want to leave off any soft skills that aren't relevant to the job you're applying for. So personal habits and traits like being organized or a hard worker, those you can sort of leave off unless they're tailored specifically for that job. You'll also want to leave off your GPA unless you're a recent college graduate and it's above a 3.5.
So next we'll be going through picking the best format for you. So there are three main resume formats that exist out there. There's the chronological resume, the functional resume, and the combination resume. As students, you'll be primarily using the chronological resume, and then as you progress throughout your career and gain more experience, you may want to switch and alter your resume to either a functional or combination resume. So a chronological resume is ideal for candidates seeking a job similar to their previous positions, generally for students and entry-level candidates, as I mentioned. And it's ideal for academic resumes. The functional resume is ideal for creative jobs where portfolio matters most. For example, if you want to pursue a job in architecture, they generally require a portfolio to go along with your resume. So if you can point to specific contents in your portfolio within your resume, that can help job recruiters identify whether you're qualified for a specific job. Additionally, functional resumes are ideal for military transitioners and candidates who don't want to seem overqualified. Now, a combination resume, as the title suggests, is a combination of the two. It's for seasoned professionals targeting a specific position. So these are for people who are much later in their career and have too many experiences to fit on one page in one resume. So if they're switching careers, then they want to tailor their resume to specific experiences that they've had that are applicable for the job they want to apply for. So career changers is what this is ideal for, and people with employment gaps. So the chronological resume will run in chronological order of your experiences, whereas you might want to use a combination resume if you have large gaps either between jobs, employment gaps or between jobs.
So like we said earlier, the best format for high schoolers will probably be the chronological resume. Looking at this chronological resume, we can see that your experience will be in chronological order. You'll also have a resume introduction, which can more directly summarize the goals and intentions to your recruiter. So they can see that right off the bat, your resume is very organized and it's tailored to this specific job that you're applying for. You're also going to want to have a unique way of showing your skills and proficiency in them. So as we can see in this example, they have bars to say how well they are or how well they know each skill compared to the other one. So Spanish, for example, has 5 out of 6 bars, whereas their customer relations skill is the highest. Using these, they can see which ones you know best, and it's a unique way rather than just listing out bullet points of your skills without knowing which ones you're better at than the others.
So next, we'll see a functional resume example. Here we can see the skills are grouped by theme instead of in the previous resume, we just saw how proficient you were in each skill. There's a little description for each. Then under experience, it includes any relevant professional experiences, not exactly every professional experience. And contrary to the last resume, we can see this one has a much simpler layout and it's a little easier to read, clear and concise. And depending on which job you're applying for, you may choose to have a simple layout like this or one in the previous example that has more color and is slightly more artistic and creative, which you may want to use if you're applying for a job that requires creativity and artistic ability. Whereas for engineers like Nicole and I, where job recruiters may not care too much about some of those aspects, a simple layout like this will be just fine for a job application.
And finally, we'll talk a little bit more about the combined examples. Usually in these, they'll highlight their skills first and include the applicable work experience they've had, and maybe sometimes some personal projects. But this one, again, is a little bit longer and a little bit more for people who've had a ton of experience and are a little bit later in their careers.
So next we'll talk about tailoring your resume for a specific job description. Believe it or not, in today's market, many companies utilize resume tracking programs where a computer selects your resume based on keywords from the posted job description. So when you're writing your resume, we want to help you identify the keywords that you see in the job description and incorporate them in your resume wherever possible to help you get through that initial screening process. So your application can actually reach a human recruiter to consider your resume for the job. Additionally, this is also a good indicator of whether you qualify for the position. You really want to assess the job description thoroughly and make sure that these keywords align with your skills and your experiences. If they don't, then you may choose not to apply for the job because you may not be as qualified as you had initially thought. Some examples are, if a certain job requires proficiency in Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign, it may be an indicator that the company uses those graphic design softwares over others. And if you have no experience in those particular softwares, for software, you may not want to apply for that position. So just something to keep in mind.
So here we're going to take a look at a job description for a teacher assistant. And when you go over this job description, you will see some keywords and phrases such as planning, implementing, supporting the development of relationships, encouraging involvement, interacting, assessing, preparing, and communicating. So we can see that these words stand out. And a tailoring tip that we have for you is that in your resume, you should choose specific experiences you've had that highlight these attributes that we previously mentioned.
Another example is the job description for a product manager position up in Canada. And the keywords we identified in this job posting were marketing, implementing, cross-functional team, interact, support, development, collaborate, and adjust. And the tailoring tip here is using these words in your resume will make them pop and stand out amongst applicants as these are attributes desired by the employer. So again, you want to identify keywords that a computer program may have stored to screen through certain resumes. And you don't want to be counted out just for not including these words or phrases. So make sure to incorporate them in your work experience bullets or your skills section of your resume.
And finally, for our last example, we're going to look at a job description for a registered nurse. Keywords and phrases in this are knowledgeable, collaborative, multidisciplinary team, patient-centered care, commitment, organized, positive outcomes, and problem solving. So we can see from each of these examples that each job description has unique desires, but many of them will overlap. So the constants we've seen throughout these three examples are frequent keywords such as interact, communicate, organize, support, and commitment. And so even when you might not have all of those keywords or phrases, you can use some of these, interact, communicate, organize, etc., as they're very frequent and generalized amongst a lot of job descriptions. So if you put these on your resume, they'll hit those keywords for a lot of jobs instead of just the specific one you're looking at. This is good to remember if you're wanting a job, nothing specific, just sending out applications.
So here are some sites where you can find internships and jobs should you want to apply for maybe summer internships, or you're about to graduate high school and want to get a job right out of high school. Some of the best sites are internships.com, Intern Match, and Idealist. And some general career opportunity sites are Indeed, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and coolworks.com. Additionally, you may want to start creating a LinkedIn profile so you can network with other professionals and see job opportunities that way by talking with other professionals in the field that you may be interested in pursuing a career in, or you just have a general interest in. I don't think anyone expects you guys to know exactly what you want to do yet, but if you do, then that's great. You can target specific groups within LinkedIn or these other sites, other communities, and find people to have a conversation with. Also, coolworks.com is it's a job finder site for the adventurous soul, with jobs offered at a lot of outdoor locations like national parks and athletic resorts. If you really want to pursue some cooler jobs out there, that's a cool site to look at. But another thing to note is that if you have a specific company or position in mind that you want to apply to, it's best to just go directly to the company's website, and they'll have career and job opportunities on their website that you can apply directly through. So you don't necessarily have to search through these sites. You can go directly to a company's website if you have one.
And finally, we'll go over some questions that we anticipated that you might have. So as a high school student, how would you write your resume without any prior job experience? And the truth is that you don't really need professional experience to write a resume, especially high schoolers. No one's expecting you, of course, to have all of this job experience. You can include experiences like school projects and leadership roles and other extracurricular activities that you can speak length about. And next, we will answer what's the difference between a cover letter and a resume, and do you need both? So a cover letter is a little more in-depth than a resume, and many jobs may require both. So it's nice to practice writing them, but overall, your cover letter will really be an opportunity to personalize your application and show them why you fit this job the best. So again, I would practice writing both. It's always good to have both on hand for any job that you're interested in. And we will answer how long should your resume be, and what do you choose to include and what to leave off. So we already talked a little bit about what to include and what to leave off. But overall, your resume should be about a page long, not really longer, especially if you don't have that a lot of career experience. And you should choose what to put on your resume based on the relevance to the job you're seeking. So those examples we showed about the keywords, and Zach talked a little bit earlier about putting skills that are relevant to the specific job. If you don't have those skills yet, you can always go learn those skills, or step back and say, okay, I'll go learn Adobe or something like that, and then put them on your resume, and then you can apply for the job. But you shouldn't put things on that aren't actually what you know yet. But in general, just keep it a page long and you should be good. And finally, what are some other resources out there that can help you write your resume, find what you want to do, apply for jobs, and prepare you for interviews? So those 3 links are very good to help prepare you for all of those. If you need help writing your resume, there's the first link that you can actually put your resume into the website, and they'll kind of scan it over and just quickly point out some things. So that's a really good site. Next, we have a personality test, which kind of compares your personality to what careers might be best for you. So if you don't know what you want to do, that's a really good first step in finding out what that might be. And finally, the third site has really good job interview questions and answers. In case you actually get that interview that you're looking for and really nervous about it, that's a good place to start as well. Again, these are just a few of the many, many sites out there that offer these resources. So if you forget these links, you can always just give it a quick Google and you'll probably have a lot more good sites than just these.
So like Nicole said, if you need help starting or altering the current resume you have, feel free to send us your questions. You can find our emails just below. And thank you very much for your time, and good luck out there.